The tragic Black Hawk helicopter crash in Washington, D.C. on January 29, 2025, brought up serious questions of aviation safety, airspace management, and operational procedures. In the mid-air collision with an American Airlines commercial plane, 67 people died, and hence an immediate investigation was taken up by the National Transportation Safety Board, Federal Aviation Administration, and the U.S. military. While the official cause remains under investigation, several potential contributing factors have emerged. What could have caused the Black Hawk crash? Altitude deviation by Black Hawk helicopter. The most critical factor in the crash could have been the likeliness of flying the Black Hawk helicopter outside their altitude range. Initial reports stated that the helicopter had climbed into controlled airspace, reserved for bigger commercial aircraft, and could have been directly in the path of the descending jet from American Airlines. It was flying between 350 to 400 feet instead of its 200 feet route. But aviation experts say that military aircraft, especially helicopters, are usually given different corridors to avoid conflict with commercial jets. If the Black Hawk inadvertently strayed from its assigned altitude, it could have presented an unavoidable collision scenario. Pilot situational awareness and visibility issues. Another big possibility is that the Black Hawk crew just did not see the oncoming American Airlines aircraft in time to avoid it. Some analysts who specialize in aviation believe that he might have been focusing his attention on some other aircraft and misjudged which ones presented a collision hazard. Poor visibility in the cockpit of the Black Hawk helicopter, in particular under certain lighting conditions, may have limited the ability of the pilot to view an incoming jet. Communication breakdowns between the Black Hawk crew and ATC may further have caused misunderstandings about their position. Navigation in complex airspace, such as the National Capital Region of Washington, D.C., needs strict navigation and coordination between ATC and aircraft crews. Even for one momentary lapse in awareness, the results can be disastrous. Air traffic control challenges and human error. Washington, D.C. quote, S. Ronald Reagan National Airport has perennially suffered from controller staffing and overwork. Reports place the controller in control of the Black Hawk as having to handle many aircraft at a time, an assignment that is usually divided between two ATC personnel. Given the degree of air traffic congestion, which was routine, the controller could have miscommunicated information with the Black Hawk crew regarding an approaching American Airlines jet. Miscommunication between controllers and pilots led to misunderstanding of clearance instructions. The high tempo of the operations at DCA created judgment errors about separation distances of the aircraft. The above factors increase the risk of airspace conflicts significantly, especially in restricted or controlled zones where the operation of aircraft, both military and civilian, is almost proximate to each other. Complex and crowded airspace in Washington, D.C. The airspace over Washington, D.C. is one of the most heavily controlled and congested in the United States. A number of aviation regulations influence the National Capital Region and include, but are not limited to, the following: the Flight Restricted Zone, an ultra-secure area surrounding the White House, Capitol, and Pentagon; the Washington, D.C. Special Flight Rules Area, a regulated corridor controlling civilian and military flight paths. These restrictions shrink the available flight paths, thus making airspace more congested and prone to mid-air conflicts. Even minor navigation errors or misinterpretation of flight instructions can have disastrous consequences in such a high-risk environment. Crew composition and workload. The Black Hawk helicopter reportedly flew with a crew of 3 members instead of the normal 4. This is questionable on the basis of reduced distribution of workload in the cockpit, makes it much more difficult to monitor air traffic and speak effectively with ATC. Quite possibly, no co-pilot or flight engineer to take additional tasks in navigation and situational awareness. In military aviation, crew coordination plays an essential role in mishap prevention. It goes without saying that in case of overloading or working in reduced composition, the Black Hawk team would reduce their ability for quick reactions. Key areas for investigation. The NTSB, FAA, and military aviation authorities will be zeroing in on a few critical questions, including why did the Black Hawk enter commercial airspace? Was it pilot error, an ATC miscommunication, or an equipment malfunction? Did ATC issue proper instructions to both aircraft? Was there a delay in warning the Black Hawk or the American Airlines jet? Were the pilots aware of each other's presence? Did visibility issues, cockpit distractions, or incorrect assumptions play a role? Was there an airspace design flaw? Does Washington D.C. quote, "S flight route system need adjustments to prevent similar incidents"? What were the external conditions? Weather, lighting, and other environmental factors will be looked upon to see their possible influence. Implications for future aviation safety. This tragic mid-air collision will likely bring about major policy changes that include stronger separation guidelines for military and commercial aircraft over metropolitan areas, reforms to ATC staffing to ensure adequate personnel for managing high-traffic zones, more rigorous pilot training programs, particularly in situational awareness in high-risk airspace, and upgraded air traffic surveillance systems that provide much clearer real-time tracking of all aircraft. The loss of 67 lives cannot be allowed to happen again. The aviation world, military and regulatory bodies should work hand in hand and improve the protocol for flight safety to safeguard not only military passengers but also civilians. As the investigation by the NTSB continues to unfold, more details will become available that can help clarify the exact sequence of events leading to this devastating accident. However, initial findings would suggest that pilot misjudgment, challenges from ATC, and complex airspace around Washington, D.C. all played a part in the tragedy. As we continue to keenly follow the proceedings, if you have more expertise, please do share with us in the comments section. Please subscribe to our channel for more accurate news. Till then, we shall keep waiting for the official result of the NTSB. In God we trust.